Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to 2025. I thought, what better way to kickstart the new year than to have Oriana on from Kickstarter. Now, Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform which I've previously used to buy new upcoming gadgets or invest in some software platforms, but it's actually one of the biggest platforms for authors to get funding to fund their new books. And the way that it works is you create things like special editions, products, or other things in order to get fans to give you money so that you can launch your new special edition books. And it basically is another way of getting funding for your business. Now, this is an amazing episode because Oriana has worked with some of the biggest names in self-publishing to have some super successful crowdfunding campaigns that have had hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment, which has really helped authors to get their books off the ground. So I'm really excited to this episode. I think you're going to learn lots from it, and check out kickstarter.com to get more information, and I will see you in the show. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Publishing Performance Show. Today I'm really delighted to be joined by Oriana Leckert, who is the head of publishing, and she's also a writer, but she's the head of publishing at Kickstarter. So thank you very much for joining me.
Danny, thank you so much for having me. What a delight.
Yeah. Well, we actually met at Author Nation, so it's really nice to have you on for a proper chat because we had a short one recently, but it's really nice to get you on because it was such a good conversation we had together.
Oh,
so thank you for coming back. But I think Kickstarter, so I did know about it for books for a while, but actually it's something I've known more for things like businesses who want to get funding for their startups, for example. So could you give us a bit of an overview for what Kickstarter is and how it works for authors?
Yeah, totally. Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform that lets you build community, connect directly with your audience, and of course, raise much needed funds. That's true for all of our creative categories. I think there are 15 main categories on the Kickstarter site. Kickstarter is a public benefit corporation, which means that we have a fairly strict legal and business charter that requires us to consider, our impact on the world with everything we do, and essentially makes us a mission-driven for-profit organization. Our mission is to bring creative projects to life. That's the whole thing, everything we do. So every campaign that's run on the platform has to create something new to share with the world. It is an excellent product market fit for books, although I would say out in the world, we're best known for games and gadgets, but excellent product market fit for things like books, comics, CDs, sort of tangible items that are powered by creative work. The kind of idea around crowdfunding is you are casting a wide net to generate a large number of small dollar donors. And there's a, sort of like persistent misapprehension that Kickstarters are, begging people for charity, which is exactly not true. What you're doing is taking a creative journey. You're asking people to come with you on that journey, to support your efforts, to be part of your story, and you are rewarding them with things that will come out of that creative practice that you're doing. So the rewards are very central to the Kickstarter proposition. That's what separates it from a lot of other ways of selling books online. You're giving people limited editions, you're giving them special merch, you're giving them personal consultations, individual naming rights, things like that. So your goal is to really make people feel connected to the work that you're doing, to shore up your community, to build your audience and your network of people who love what you do. Yeah.
So would you say that Kickstarter is mostly for new authors who maybe haven't got a lot of history or a lot of funding behind them and they want to get that funding? Or is it actually a lot also for experienced authors who are maybe trying to connect with their audience a bit more?
I think Kickstarter is for everyone. I think, whatever kind of project you're doing, you can probably find your way on Kickstarter, but you need to have a clear kind of sense of where you are in your journey. If you're an emerging author who's still building your list, you probably don't want to ask for $100,000. You want to make sure that your ambition matches your reach. So, and further, you can build your audience on Kickstarter, but it is a difficult place to be if you haven't got any real network built up. Kickstarter has an amplifying effect. So on a publishing project, on average, maybe 15 to 30% of your backers are going to come through the Kickstarter ecosystem just by nature of being on the platform. So that's not nothing, but it's definitely not everything. Really, you need to bring your audience first, and then Kickstarter will be able to use that to expose your project to a larger universe of folks that just don't know that they're your fans yet.
Right, I see. So is it a bit like a marketplace or a search engine where if there more traffic goes towards listing, then it gets more chance of getting seen by new people as well?
Yeah, our algorithm works on attention. So the more people who are clicking, commenting, backing, reacting, interacting with your project, that will help it rank higher in search results. That'll power our recommendation engine, which exposes projects to people all across the sort of universe of backers.
Okay, that makes. I didn't know that. That's very interesting because my main thing is Amazon ads, and obviously, Amazon ads working in almost exactly the same way. You know, the books that are most likely to get sold on Amazon are going to appear near the top of the searches. And so getting that traffic to the listing is one of the main things that can affect that. So I didn't know that Kickstarter works in a similar way.
Yeah, well, I do not love being compared to Amazon, so let me see how I can, I mean, it's true that, you want to bring your audience first, but we're not, I guess I see what you're saying, probably in the upper echelons in our $1 million campaigns, once somebody is doing hundreds of thousands of backers, that is going to stay sort of like at the tippity top. But I would not say like that's, as I said, like, you're going to get backers just from being on the site. It's going to depend, like the number of backers will depend on how, how well trafficked your campaign is, but that's not the full story. And
Yeah,
like, you're also getting effort, like the whole way that you're promoting your project through your channels, you're basically shouting from the rooftops, both to the audience that you have and the audience that you want. It's a real good way to galvanize and sort of, focus a broad swath of marketing efforts all into one, like funnel it into one project. During a campaign, you're going to be hopefully, blasting the project out through your newsletters, through all your socials. You'll be going on podcasts and YouTube channels and Instagram lives. You'll be trying to get traditional press. You'll be working with signal boosters, amplifier, so like in all of these ways, you're generating a huge amount of interest in what you're doing beyond, the additional backers who are coming through the Kickstarter ecosystem.
yeah, great. I think I'm just saying that it's not, if you're doing a campaign with Kickstarter, it's not a case of just putting it up and just leaving it and hoping for the best. There's
That's true.
work you need to do
Kickstarter is not a
yourself.
money tree that
Yeah.
you can just shake and hope to be made rich.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so what are the key steps involved when you are creating your Kickstarter campaign? What does that process look like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's both very simple and kind of as complicated as you want it to be. You are going to make a project page. Well, first, you're going to figure out what your project is. That might seem like it shouldn't need to be said, but it definitely does. Are you launching a new book? Are you doing a series of new customized covers for an old series that you wrote? Are you making a literary museum exhibition? Are you making literary inspired chocolate bars? Whatever it is the thing that you're doing, figure that out. Do your budgeting, make sure that you know what your costs are going to be to produce and ship the thing that you're making and any associated rewards. This is all in the sort of like background work. Do that, and also start to think about where your community is, what your avenues are for reaching them. Make sure that you've got all of those avenues kind of well primed to set up a campaign. You will probably make a campaign video. It's not a requirement, but it is a preference on the site. A short, 1 minute teaser video is really all that's required. You'll design your campaign page, tell your story. That's, the plot of your book, but maybe also who you are, what brought you to this work, what excites you about, this, telling this story and why. All sorts of other, your collaborators, your timeline, your budgets, things like that. You'll set up your rewards, and you'll run your project. We recommend running campaigns for about 30 days. So you'll want to build in at least 2 weeks for a pre-launch phase where you've got a pre-launch page collecting followers. You're building up your audience that way. Then you'll launch, you'll run it for your 30 days. You can put in late pledges now if you want to. That's a brand new feature. So you can continue collecting backers after the campaign has closed up until the point when you say, okay, we're done now. We're going to start producing these books. Then you make your beautiful, wonderful books, send them out to all your people, and now you're done.
Yeah, amazing. Now, you mentioned at the beginning that you create a video. Now, that sounds maybe a bit scary. What sort of, can the video literally just be you speaking to the camera, talking about what your book's about? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It should really be the lowest possible lift for a sort of high lift medium. Really, our data shows that most people stop watching after the first minute. So you're talking about something very short, a direct to camera, you with your laptop, you on your phone. This does not need to be a Hollywood production style endeavor. Think about also, once you're generating video assets, can you utilize some or all of this during and after the campaign? Don't like marshal all these efforts for something that you're never going to need again. But so think about generating assets that you can put on socials or on your website later, that sort of thing. And also, if the if the thing that is keeping you from running a Kickstarter is the video, don't make a video. Plenty of campaigns succeed beautifully without a video, especially in, I mean, if I was running the film category, I would say it's like probably pretty important that you demonstrate your
Yeah.
knowledge of video technology. But for a book, if you don't want to make one, don't make one. That's totally fine.
Yeah. Wow. Now, so you just talked about rewards. So when I've done Kickstarters before, it's mostly been for a new product launch or something like that. So the reward has often been, well, you get the product early, or it could be maybe you get some extra merch to do with the company. So what sort of rewards do authors typically give for their campaigns?
Yeah, so I think this is sort of the most exciting part of conceptualizing what you're going to do for your Kickstarter campaign. Yes, of course, the book, the thing, the series, the whatever, the main thing you're making, that is your primary reward tier, but you can get really creative about what else you offer to your fans. Remember, like, this is a way to like galvanize your most diehard supporters and get them really excited to be part of your work and your world. So general guidance for stuff below the book tier, probably digital rewards are the best. You don't want to be on the hook to like produce and ship just a sort of endless amount of like bookmarks and stickers and like tiny paper goods that are going to wind up costing more to deal with than you're going to make back. But so digital wallpaper, you could do a 20 track playlist of songs that inspire you to write, or a book soundtrack. You could do audio narration if you want to. You could, there's a lot of sort of just like small virtual things, a pretty PDF of like 10 other books that you recommend for folks who love your work, things like that. Above the book tier, that's where you can get really, really creative. So think first about your own personal skills. Are you a social media expert and you want to offer consultations? Are you an editor and you want to offer manuscript reviews? Things like that. Are there companion type items you can make along with your book? If it's a fantasy novel, can you make like books of maps, or a collection of maps? If it's a children's book, can you do coloring pages? If it's a nonfiction book, can you do worksheets or a workbook? Things like that. Also think about who else is in your community who might want to donate some of their own items. Other people, other writers could offer signed books. If you know beautiful crafters, maybe somebody wants to donate a scarf with a quote or a scene from your book knitted into it, candles that have a smell that is relevant to your story. You can also think about participatory rewards. We see a whole lot of naming rights. We'll name the dragon after your dog. We'll name the villain after your mother-in-law. We'll name the hero after your son, things like this. Yeah, book clubs, read-alongs, annotated editions, launch parties, virtual IRL, really like anything you can think of that has to do with your creative world can probably be packaged up as a cool reward that's going to excite somebody.
Yeah, so it's literally endless what you could do. It's about getting creative and trying to find what you think your audience would like.
100%.
So when with all these different campaigns and rewards, it doesn't sound not. It sounds like people have lots of different types of goals for their books, and you mentioned there's like different goals. What typically are the goals that people set for a book launch?
Do you mean the actual financial goal?
I think so, yeah. I mean, some people might have a non-financial goal, maybe. I don't know. They may just want to get a certain amount of readers, but are there goals? Do people typically start with, say, I want to raise $1,000, or is there or something like that? Just a quick shout out to all the romance authors out there. Now, if you're tired of shouting into the void every time you launch a brand new romance book, then let myromancereads.com do the shouting for you. They have a list of over 18,000 romance readers who love getting books when they're on discounts or on the free promotion. And it goes into their inbox every single day. It's got an amazing open rate, and every promotion gets on average over 600 clicks. That's a lot of new readers for your new series of romance books. So head to myromancereads.com where you can sign up today.
Yeah, totally. I think there maybe are two ways to answer this question. The mechanism of a campaign requires you to choose a stated financial goal.
Yep.
That's how all or nothing funding works. You say, I'm going to raise $5,000 or I'm not going to do this thing. So to answer that part of the question, I think I said already, like, you just want to make sure that your ambition matches your reach. So you want to consider your funding goal a floor, not a ceiling. Once you've hit that base goal, you can continue to raise money for the life of the campaign. So you want to set and make sure it's enough money to actually do the things that you're setting out to do. A lot of people set their campaign goal for $200 and claim that they're going to make a leather-bound deluxe edition. Well, $200 is not enough to create books like that. And so unless you've got a different kind of plan, if you only fund the amount you've asked for, you've actually put yourself in a pretty bad spot because you now don't have enough money to like do the things that you've promised to do. So I would recommend kind of the lowest amount necessary to actually really truly do the thing and not put yourself in a financial hole.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, think about ways to like continue driving enthusiasm and like keeping the momentum up. Maybe you can add stretch goals or like other things that will keep people donating even after you've hit that amount. The second way to answer your question is that the primary goal of running a Kickstarter is to raise funds, but everybody has at least one, if not multiple, secondary goals. And that is really important to think about before you start your campaign. What are those secondary goals? Are you trying to build your list? If so, you might want to have a lot of low dollar rewards, people who are just paying $1 or $2 for like a digital shout out. And now these are folks who are on your mailing list who you can continue marketing to forever. Mm-hmm. Is your goal to get recognition out in the world? Then you might want to tailor your campaign or think about what's the most like press-worthy angle, what's the hook that's going to really excite people. Is your goal, just like thinking about all of the other things that can happen while you're running the campaign, and then tailor your strategies so that you're working on fulfilling those things as well as raising the amount of money that you've set out to earn.
Just a quick shout out to all the romance authors out there. Now, if you're tired of shouting to the void every time you launch a brand new romance book, then let myromancereads.com do the shouting for you. They have a list of over 18,000 romance readers who love getting books when they're on discounts or on the free promotion. And it goes into their inbox every single day. It's got an amazing open rate, and every promotion gets on average over 600 clicks. That's a lot of new readers for your new series of romance books. So head to myromancereads.com where you can sign up today. Yeah, right, okay. Now, at the beginning of just before we talked about the goals, you mentioned it was an all or nothing campaign. So does that mean if you don't raise the amount you say you need, then you don't get to keep that money and it goes back to the backers?
Yeah, I mean, so it actually doesn't go back to anybody because it has never moved at all. The way that money runs on Kickstarter is that while the campaign is live, if I pledge $25 to your campaign, Stripe, our payment processor, is going to verify my identity, confirm my bank account, and make sure that it has at least $25 in it, but not touch anything beyond that. When the campaign closes, if it has successfully reached its goal, Stripe's got 2 weeks to kind of pull all those monies from all the different accounts. They're going to keep their fee. They're going to send Kickstarter our fee, and they're going to deposit the rest for the creator. And so, yes, if you say I'm setting out to raise $10,000 and you only raise $6,000, you don't get any of the money, which goes back to it was actually designed to protect the artists and creatives, because you don't, if the thing that you're going to do is going to cost you $10,000, having $6,000 is worse than having nothing at all. You have to like come up with the rest of that money. You have to make an inferior product. Maybe you're not going to make the thing at all, which is going to be a really bad outcome for yourself and all the people who believed in you. So yeah, that's why we've designed, that's why the platform is designed in the all or nothing way.
No, that makes sense. And it also protects customers as well. So it doesn't make sure they don't get, it makes perfect sense. Now, is there a typical amount that you see authors try to raise at first, maybe for their first Kickstarter?
Yeah, I really encourage people not to think in terms of sort of like site averages, because there's such a vast variety. I mean, really, we have everything from, a teenager stapling zines in their parents' basement up to major publishers and self-publishing authors raising literally millions of dollars. So finding an average between those points is not that helpful. I would say, again, going back to, you really need to do an honest assessment of what your network and abilities kind of look like. If your book is going to cost $25, how many people are you capable of reaching? What percentage of those people are likely to back, and at what levels? Try to sort out like what is possible for you, which is way more important than what is an average for Kickstarter.
Right. That makes sense as well. Because I know some books obviously are going to be huge and they're going to just need loads and loads of money to get them made. And when we were in Author Nation, we saw some of the books that were being made and they were really expensive. Like some of the really high quality print books were like $100 just to print them, each one.
Totally.
So I guess it depends on what sort of rewards you're offering as well as to how much you're going to need. Now, let's talk about a couple of really good case studies, because I think that's my questions are quite like broad, and so the case studies will bring it back down to real life examples. So
Yeah.
it'd be good to hear about some case studies of what's worked well. But what would be good to know is, how much were they trying to request, and also what rewards did they offer as a result, and how that went.
Yeah, well, so I'll start with the sort of like biggest, flashiest, craziest.
Yeah.
I've pulled up a list of the top 15 earners in the publishing category
Yep.
in 2024. Wraith Marked Books, they are in here a lot. They've got, I think, 4 deluxe editions. They're a publisher of deluxe editions of previously published books. They earn over $1 million in their highest campaigns. They
Wow.
do really gorgeous, sort of like Smithsonian binding, high-end covers, deluxe art, spot gloss, various sorts of like effects like this. They run a lot of campaigns and they have a really strong connection to their audience. They actually are the highest funded project of the year, which just closed a couple of weeks ago and is not even a book. It's a statue. It's a collectible statue from Christopher Paolini's Aragon series. So it's like a 2-foot or 1.5-foot dragon. Anyway, some of the other highest funded, Will White, who has run 4 campaigns for his Cradle series. His latest project also broke $1 million.
Wow.
He has a vast, huge, massive, insane audience that is ravenous for his works. So he's done the books in sets of 3. So he did, books 1 through 3, 4 through 7, etc., 4 through 6, 7 through 9. He'll have one more campaign and he'll have the complete series done on Kickstarter. Another of our biggest was Bonkers Romance. They did the Black Rose auction, which is a 3-book, 6-story series. Each book is 2 books. They're like flip-flop. So one is printed front to back and the next is printed back to front. So they combined the audience of 6 different really popular romance novelists, again, making, sort of deluxe edition books. They had vellum art inserts, translucent art pieces that are
Wow.
the same trim size as the book. And I think they had a dozen. You could choose 4 out of 12 art pieces. So you can sort of customize your book without them having to make split print runs of every different combination of pieces of art. And Penny Reed, another huge romance novelist, she did her Winston Brothers book from the Beard series, raised $500,000. The Black Rose auction also raised over $500,000. So those are some of our, and then another one I was just going to mention, Adam, what is his last name? I'm going to pause and say this as a sentence when I get, another one I wanted to mention is Adam Ellenboss. He does an annual daily horoscopes collection.
Yep.
He's an astrologer who's also very, very popular. His latest of those hit just under $400,000.
Wow.
So he's another really big author who comes onto the platform once a year. So those are the like big guys. I don't think, I say that as a sort of to dazzle the audience with like what's possible if you are, but not everybody is going to raise $400,000. Not everybody should raise that much money or would even know what to do with it. So a few others that I wanted to mention. And
but just before we go on to the next ones, because those ones I just wanted to see those big ones. But so those ones they were like $400,000 to over $1 million. So they really are asking for quite a lot of money. Now, what were the rewards? What sort of rewards were they offering in terms of not just the book or what? Because I know obviously you could buy the book or you're getting a very special edition, but some people might have just been offering less money for part of the campaign as well. So
so I pulled up Will White's. His are very streamlined. He's basically just offering the books in sets. Let me get another one I can talk about.
So for something like that, where you're offering the book, how much money are you usually expecting from backers?
Let's see. So one book in the Cradle project is $45, and you could get all three for $150.
Right.
That was really it. Those were the 2 tiers. And then he had a larger number of add-ons, which you could do after. He has keychains and coasters, little badges, swaggy stuff like that that's relevant to the plot of his books.
So I'm guessing because they're $45, they must be like really high quality type.
They're deluxe leather bound editions.
Right. Yeah.
Totally.
Cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
With the Black Rose auction, so this was a series. It looks like they might have had with add-ons, but I don't think in base rewards they had individual titles. You could get 3 of the paperbacks for $75, 3 of the hardcovers for $125. They also had a whole swag box. There was a swag box for the paperbacks and a swag box for the hardcovers. And what was in the swag boxes? They've got a foiled slipcase. They've got stickers. I talked about the vellum art. They have art cards. I think if not this campaign, some of their campaigns, yeah, they have selections of art that are either not safe for work or safe for work, depending on how spicy you would like your art. They've got notebooks, metal bookmarks, candles, book sleeves, digital wallpapers, collectible coins, all sorts of, again, like merchy stuff that is directly related to the projects that they're making.
That's really interesting. Obviously, that's really inspiring because those things are obviously going to be bought by super fans. Like,
Totally.
None of the people who buy my books would pay $50 for one copy of them.
Not yet.
Yeah. So that is really for people who want to get the book before it's gone out to the general public and it's going to be in a really special edition. That's the sort of, so we're looking at people.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the sort of the FOMO of the limited exclusive editions that you can only get. I mean, that was the Brandon Sanderson tactic, which I think has kind of reshaped a little bit of how people are thinking about these projects. You know, his campaign, highest funded crowdfunding campaign of all time. He raised $42 million. And the deal was those were limited editions of 4 of his new novels. And his deal with Tor, his traditional publisher under Penguin Random House, was that 6 months after those limited series editions were fulfilled through the Kickstarter, Tor would bring out the books in paperback editions. So of course anybody could get the books later, but you couldn't get the special deluxe signed numbered fancy editions. Those were only available during the Kickstarter campaign.
Wow. I have to get Brandon Sanderson on the podcast. That was my next stretch goal.
Cool. Excellent.
So obviously those are amazing. And that is really inspiring for people who are aiming to get bigger. But I think you're about to go on to them, but some of the people who are just starting out, or maybe they're self-publishers and currently they're just published on Amazon, what are some of those smaller campaigns that have done really well?
Yeah, so the one thing that I would say for anybody listening, if you are even a little bit Kickstarter curious, the best thing you can do for yourself is back some campaigns. Even just for $1, find and follow the creators out in the world and watch what other people are doing. I wind up saying this in almost every talk or presentation I give, but I am an expert in Kickstarter because I stare at Kickstarter all day long.
Yeah.
You too can stare at Kickstarter all day long. You can find all the best tricks and you can take them for yourself. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There are also a lot of mentorship and guidance type groups out in the world. I know there's a very popular Facebook group run by Anthea Sharp and Thorne Coyle. I think it's just called Kickstarter for Authors. You have to apply for membership. There are about 6,000 authors in there just talking to each other all day long about where do you get your books printed? What are some interesting rewards? What are your strategies for outreach? This, that, and the other. There are a number of books and there are a number of other groups where you can work with people who are experienced Kickstarter creators on how to run your project. Incubators, that's what I was trying to say. Russell Nolte and Monica Leonel run one. So yeah, there are plenty of places to talk to other people who are doing this and exchange tips with them, which I think is stronger than anything else that I could tell you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Russell's got a really good book about how to sell on Kickstarter as well, which
he absolutely does. Anthea Sharp has another book about how to use Kickstarter for authors. I was going to bring up Russell. So Russell has run 34 campaigns under his own profile. He's done others through Writer MBA with Monica, one of the most experienced Kickstarter creators around. Absolutely study his projects. I've got one of his recent Obsidian Spindle Saga campaigns pulled up. His campaign pages are well developed. He's got excellent art. He's got book specs. He's got all sorts of information about who he is. He's got spoilers if you want to read them. Absolutely somebody to study. And of course, he's got lots and lots and lots of of reward tiers. Some of these are for physical items. You can get coins. You can choose any paperback. You can get whole series, the current series he's funding or other of his series. He also does a lot more with add-ons. You can get all sorts of other volumes. Yeah, I mean, he's someone who's got a robust backlist, so that's not going to be true for everybody, but these are all excellent ways to sort of get people excited, not just for this one book, but everything else that you have done.
Yeah.
Anthea runs her campaigns under Fiddlehead Press. She's another one to study. All of her pages look excellent. Her art is really well done. She's got her collaborators. She's got everybody's headshots. She links out to all their websites. She's got stretch goals. She's got add-ons. Really just looking around the site
Yeah.
at what other people are doing is the best way to figure out how to run a good campaign.
Yeah, we'll put links to the campaigns you mentioned today in the show notes when we can see them. But so basically, what you're saying is just look at what's working well and replicate it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not even replicate it, but like think about what that means for you. Somebody, the Bonkers Romance, they've got not safe for work art. Maybe you don't have art like that, but what's your version of the thing that they're doing? Some of these campaigns, have keychains and candles, but maybe your work lends itself better to enamel pins and purses, whatever it is. I was just talking to someone yesterday who does business books, and he was like, well, what can I use from what these fiction authors are doing in, my nonfiction world? And I said, what's your version of, we'll name the dragon after your dog? What's your version of, annotated, deleted scenes? There are always things that you can think of in the context of what you're doing that other people have done, but that are going to make more sense. And look, you can also talk to your audience. I mean, a lot of this is about getting more direct contact with the people who most support your work. So you can say to them, hey, if we, raise, if we want to add a stretch goal for $2,000, would you rather have, a limited edition reversible dust jacket or a tote bag? Would you rather have an editorial consultation or a book club? See what people are looking for and then figure out a way to give it to them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good advice. Now, obviously, you've seen hundreds of campaigns on Kickstarter, not just for books, but for everything. Are there any common mistakes you've seen people make? And have you got any advice for helping people avoid them?
The biggest mistake is not really understanding, is being sort of overly ambitious, is not really understanding kind of where you are in your career, what your connection is with your audience. And yeah, being too aspirational, which again, in an all or nothing framework, is not really going to work out well for you. And, the truth is, I know almost everything that's going on in the books category and not that much about what's going on everywhere else. It's a lot. There's between 1 and 200 projects launching each week
Wow.
in publishing and comics and journalism. So that's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah.
There's so much more in games and gadgets and film and music
Oh,
and food.
so that's 200 that's just you're responsible for.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You're a busy lady.
So it's huge. Yeah. There's lots and lots and lots of campaigns. So,
yeah.
But I mean, it's a good tip too. If you're backing projects, back a fiction book, a nonfiction book, a game, a suitcase, and, a film, and see what the difference is between how all of these people run their projects. And again, like what you can use from somebody who's opening up a cupcake shop, like what of that would apply to the books that you're writing, and how can you make that your own?
Perfect. Now, if there's people who have just started writing maybe, and they've got a new book, maybe they are just first time they've self-published a book, it's going to be non-fiction or fiction. So they don't have that network around them, such as a social media list, or they don't have a newsletter list. They don't have that network of people they can rely on to try and get that first bit of traffic. Have you got any good tips for them, how they can promote their Kickstarter so they can get it in front of more people?
I think if a person has no following whatsoever, I think it's probably a bit too early to run a Kickstarter campaign. I mean,
Right.
Everybody has, their people. You've got your inner circle for your first project. You'll send it to your friends and family, and hopefully that will get you some part of the way. But I think it could be worth spending some time doing audience building, community generating work before you run the campaign, just so that you're not going to find yourself disappointed if, the only people who find out about it and back it are your family and your next door neighbor.
Yeah. Okay. That's good advice. So maybe Kickstarter is a slightly more advanced tactic than for very, very beginners.
I think it's probably a good idea to spend time building your audience first before you get on the platform. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, this has been such good information. I mean, I think it's quite a mysterious world for people who haven't really been involved in it before, because it feels unobtainable, but you've made it sound quite simple. So if people are thinking about doing this for the first time, where's the best place for them to start?
Yeah, kickstarter.com/publishing. Go
Yeah.
and back some campaigns, watch what people are doing. You can sign up there's all sorts of Kickstarter newsletters. Kickstarter's got all of our own social channels so that you can see these campaigns all over the world, wherever you are, and connect with other writers. I mean, it shouldn't be a deterrent, me saying that you should build your community first. Talk to other people who are doing this. Building your community isn't just finding people who will one day pay you money for your creative work. It's also other people who are on the same journey with you at points maybe ahead or behind where you are, so that you can share tips, so that you can help each other out, so you can lift each other up. I think that's crucial work for anybody in any creative discipline for any reason. And of course, it will also help you when it comes time to do your Kickstarter.
Yeah, of course. That's great advice. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. Thanks so much for joining me. It's been great chatting to you. It's lovely having these huge businesses come on, not just other authors, and to speak about some of the tools. So it's really great. So just before we go, could you give us one book that you're reading that you think everyone should be reading?
Yeah, I actually am like so intimidated by this question. I don't think there's one book that everybody should be reading at all. I don't think that's the way that reading works. Once you're older than like 12, there's probably no universal book that is going to appeal to every single person. A book that I just finished a couple of weeks ago, which is worth noting, is Matt Dinniman's Dungeon Crawler Carl. That book and that author certainly having a moment. He did run a Kickstarter campaign for that book last year, maybe earlier this year, but I think it was last year. And he's at the sort of like the most popular edge of lit RPG, which is becoming a more and more talked about genre. I'm going to be doing a lot of work or I guess it's not technically a genre, but it's like an area of writing. Yeah. I'll be going to Gen Con next year for the first time, talk to a bunch of lit RPG writers. So Dungeon Crawler Carl is excellent. It's very accessible. When I saw Matt at Author Nation, he told me that for lit RPG broadly, both the readership and the authorship is like 80% male, but the demographics that read his books is much more 50-50 male to female. So it's an excellent introduction. It's quite accessible, even if you, like me, are not like a lifelong gamer.
Yeah.
It's funny, it's fun, and yeah, so that is a book that I will recommend for some people. If that sounded like an appealing description, pick it up. If not, there's lots of other books in the world that you can find for you.
Well, thank you very much. That's a really good. You're right about lit RPG. Everyone seems to be talking about it at the moment, and loads of people have said lit RPG books as their recommendation. So I have to go and check it out.
I'm in good company.
You're in good company, yeah. Well, thanks for joining me, and we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, such a delight. Thank you so much for having me, Teddy.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance podcast. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, let me tell you about Publishing Performance, the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales, but are not really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books. And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns, to choose your best keywords, and to make adjustments in real time. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure that your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. Just go to publishingperformance.com to get started with Amazon ads for just $1. Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance Show. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I absolutely love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, I want to tell you about our Publishing Performance Starter Packs. These are curated episodes and collections organised by topic that makes it super easy to find the exact content you're looking for. So whether you're wanting to deep dive into marketing strategies, explore productivity techniques, or focus on any specific area of publishing, we've organised our episodes into targeted playlists just for you. And you can find these all at teddyagsmith.com. And also, whilst you're here, let me tell you about Publishing Performance. It's the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales but aren't really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books, and if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximise your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns for you, to choose your best keywords and to make adjustments in real time and to optimize them over time to save you money and to make more sales. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. You can get started with Amazon ads for free for 30 days at publishingperformance.com, and there's a link in the show notes to get that free 30 days trial. Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance Show. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I absolutely love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, I want to tell you about our Publishing Performance Starter Packs. These are curated episodes and collections organised by topic that makes it super easy to find the exact content you're looking for. So whether you're wanting to deep dive into marketing strategies, explore productivity techniques, or focus on any specific area of publishing, we've organised our episodes into targeted playlists just for you. And you can find these all at teddyagsmith.com. And also, whilst you're here, let me tell you about Publishing Performance. It's the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales but aren't really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books, and if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximise your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalised ad account manager to create your ad campaigns for you, to choose your best keywords and to make adjustments in real time and to optimize them over time to save you money and to make more sales. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. You can get started with Amazon ads for free for 30 days at publishingperformance.com, and there's a link in the show notes to get that free 30 days trial.